Yeah, we do this each day, the 2024 presidential election. Biden and Trump tied nationally, according to one poll, but a Fox News poll is showing that for the first time, I think ever, but certainly for quite a while, Joe Biden is actually leading Donald Trump, which shows how tight this race is. Here's from the story from this Marist poll. With the first presidential debate a little more than a week away, President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump are tied among registered voters nationally, including those who are undecided. Among those who say they definitely plan to vote in November, Trump is up 1 percentage point over Biden. Now, there's 49-49 with 2% undecided, according to this, with registered voters. That is, if that's even close to being true, turnout is all that matters. If it's that close, where all of us have kind of made up our mind, where there's just 2% of people in this poll that are registered voters that are just undecided still, then what this all comes down to is turnout. I mean, which group turns out? And what's interesting is there's a story, we've been talking about this from thehill.com, and this one is about the 4 possible outcomes of the presidential debate. And they list 4 of them. One of them is that Biden has a meltdown and brings a Biden replacement. The White House and others on the left can argue, and they want about the cheap fake videos of Biden they claim are out of context. But if Biden has a viral moment during the debate, like the one over the weekend when former President Obama had to grab him by the arm and lead him off the stage during a fundraiser as he visibly froze for 8 seconds, or he appears flustered, lost, and alarmingly old, one of the takeaways could be that they will replace him on the ticket. Now, who knows if that's going to happen? I'm giving you the options of what's from this news story. A lose-lose is a big win for Trump. If the debate feels like 2 senior citizens arguing over bingo at the old age home, that the reality of this is they're a combined 159 years old, that this would be a win for him. A win-win could be a win for the former president as well. And if Biden overperforms and Trump struggles, then it's a huge win for the former president. According to this, I'm not saying I agree with all of it, but according to this, 3 out of the 4 scenarios end up being more of a win for the former president than for the current president. I think that if there is a huge advantage or there's a huge upside for the current president, it will be a performance that shows that it dispels everything else. Because what they're doing, there's 2 things that are happening. They understand that the narrative is sticking, that the narrative that this president is losing his faculties, and that narrative is sticking. Whether you like it or not, whether you agree with it or not, it is sticking. So the pushback from the White House has been of President Biden that they are calling these deep fake videos, that they're not real, that these are altered videos taken out of context. The other side of that goes along with it is you are beginning to see media members say, well, you know what? Trump's slipping too. Both of these guys, let's face it, both of these guys are old and there's slippage with both of them. So really, that's what the White House has been promoting and other people that are supportive of the current president. So if President Biden can take to the debate stage and show himself to be good at the debate, quick-witted, quick on his feet with answers and rebuttals, then it kind of helps dispel and foster this narrative that's coming from the White House. But I do agree with the first part of this. If in this debate, the current president seems flustered, if he gets forgetful, if he freezes up, it is going to solidify that narrative. That no matter what you think of Donald Trump, no matter what you think of the 4 years we've had of Donald Trump, even if you were a never-Trumper before as a Republican, that the narrative of the inability of the current president to do another 4 years becomes a reality. And then you have to think in your mind, is America better off with a Vice President Harris becoming President Harris? These polls are razor thin, okay, all of them. Now, this Fox News poll I was telling you about, a 3-point shift. President Biden is the front runner in a hypothetical matchup against former President Trump for the first time since October, as positive views of the economy inch up, hitting their highest level thus far in the Biden presidency. Since May, there was a 3-point change in the presidential race. Trump was ahead by 1 point last month, while Biden is up 2 points today, 50-48. That's well within the margin of error for both of them. Every poll is showing this as a really close race. So every television ad, every television appearance, every press conference, every debate is going to play a big role in the narrative that ends up. And then on election day or with early voting, turnout is going to have to be the biggest thing. There's a story from Politico that lists the 5 states that have the most likelihood of the legislature flipping. Arizona is one of the 5. For the presidential race all the way down ballot, Arizona is arguably the most important state in the 2024 election. Not my words, that's the words of this story. And among all of those toss-up races in Arizona, the tightest fit is found at the state legislature. Republicans hold a 1-seat majority in both the state House and the Senate. Democrats believe Arizona is their best shot at flipping chambers this cycle. They're targeting pickup opportunities in 5 districts around Maricopa County, home to Phoenix, and at least 3 more in rural southern Arizona. So this is where I get very frustrated with my party. Obviously, I mean, I think if you listen long enough, I don't have to tell you that I am a Republican. I get frustrated with my party. The budget that was just passed had to overcome a $1.4 billion deficit in projections. They project in a budget, this is how much money we're going to take in revenue, this is how much money we're going to have to lay out, and there was a shortfall. The revenue was not as high as we anticipated. So with a $1.4 billion shortfall, the 1-seat majority for Republicans in the House and the Senate sat down with a governor who has set records for vetoes and negotiated a budget that cut government by 10%, that did not raise taxes and did not dip into the rainy day fund. I'm not happy with everything that was cut. Many people are not happy with everything that's cut, but there were no tax increases and no dipping into the rainy day fund. K through 12 was protected. For those of us that are school choice advocates, there was even a small expansion of school choice. You can argue it any way you want, but school choice was protected. All of these things should be wins for Republicans. This should be something that Republican candidates should be shouting from the rooftops right now as the reason why Republicans should hold on to the majority in Arizona so that taxes aren't going up and that we don't see this shift where the burden goes on small businesses. And yet, with all of these what seem to be victories, they're getting their butts kicked over the last 10 years or so. Democrats have been picking off seats and have been increasing their minority almost to the point of a statistical tie. And it's seen nationally as possibly the state most likely to flip one or both chambers. So let's keep an eye on this.
Thanks for watching the Mike Broomhead Show. Tap to watch the first season of Amazing Arizonans, a KTAR News podcast. You can also click the button in the middle to subscribe.